Meet the Moment is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance makes bundling home and auto easy. Learn more at progressive.com.
Welcome back. Sheinelle Jones has shared her positive light with viewers as a host of the Today Show for over 10 years. But Sheinelle never imagined she'd fight for her own joy until she lost her beloved husband, Uche, to cancer. Last year, she stepped away from the Today Show to be by Uche's side, and throughout it all, he encouraged her as she wrote her first book. Through Mom's Eyes is a collection of stories from mothers of extraordinary people, inspired by a segment she did for the Today Show. Sheinelle writes about the lessons she learned from interviews with Wanda Durant, Denise Jonas, Diane Gronkowski, and other extraordinary moms. I sat down with Sheinelle for a Meet the Moment conversation about motherhood, grieving through life's milestones, and finding the strength to fight for joy. Talk about what this journey has been like for you over this past year, Sheinelle.
You know, I think I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. Here's what I know for sure that I didn't know even just, a year ago at this time. It's that there is a common denominator. There's this common language in grief and motherhood. And when you put those two things together, the reaction that I've received has been bigger and more powerful than I could have ever imagined. Grief knows no color. Grief is not red or blue. Motherhood is not red or blue. Trying to do the best you can for your kids, whether you have one child, whether you're an aunt, whether you're a foster mom, or whether you're a grandmother, that's not red or blue, And so I've found a language that we can all speak. And I didn't even realize that when I set out to write this book.
And in having read your book, Through Mom's Eyes, I didn't realize how much I would learn and how comforted I would feel about parenthood just by reading your book. So let's talk about this beautiful work
That's
that
like a
you
hug
have.
to my soul when I hear you say that. And I just kept envisioning a mom like you, or a mom, maybe a grandmother, or just someone. And I wanted her to feel less alone. I wanted her to feel affirmed. I wanted her to think about this thing called motherhood. I wanted her to, even on the hard days, realize that it's a gift.
It is a gift. It is a gift. You talk to moms of incredible people, actors, actresses, athletes, people across the spectrum, and you get their perspective on motherhood. Was there a through line that you found, a common denominator that these moms talked about that stood out as a value that they all shared?
So I think one common thread is that they were all present. There's power in your presence. And for the working mom, the traveling mom, the busy grandmother, it doesn't have to be all day. And I realized whether it was Shaq's mom, who had some challenges and decided to get her a degree in her 40s, or whether it was the Jonas Brothers' mom, who, when she realized that they were successful and they didn't depend on her for meals or laundry, she had to question, who am I in all this? Or Wanda Durant, who was a single mom. I remember I had interviewed her. The chapter was almost finished. And then Uche got sick. And I remember writing her chapter, and I thought, oh my God, she's a single mom, and she talked about the challenges of being a single mom. And I remember thinking, oh my God, is that gonna be me? And then eventually it was me.
I want to talk about Uche's impact on this book, which you couldn't have written without him.
I wouldn't be a mom without him.
He was your rock and your partner in every way.
I was 19 when I met him. I lost him when I was 47, so it's, he's been in my life. He is a main character in my life, if you will, and so I felt like I had to be honest about what we experienced, but I felt like I honored him in it because I focused on how he encouraged me to keep writing. And what I realize now, I think he also felt like it was important, obviously, for me to keep dreaming and keep going after things that I believed in. But also, I think it was a point of normalcy, because if I'm still writing, and the kids are still going to school, and we're all still moving forward, then it's like he's gonna be okay too. The moment I give up, I say, no, I'm not doing any of that. I'm here. It was almost like giving up. Giving up the book was almost like representative or symbolic of giving up. And I wouldn't do that.
And he didn't ever do that.
Never did it.
And you sat by his side the entire time, Sheinelle. What kept you going?
I think it's the power of prayer. I think people were praying for me when I didn't even know they were praying for me. People who may be watching us right now, who I may never meet, but I want them to know that I felt their prayers because it felt bigger than me.
How do you and your kids keep Uche's memory alive?
God, first of all, my boys look just like him. Sometimes it takes my breath away a little bit. Or the things they'll say, you know, that they didn't even know he used to say. It happened to me just the other day, and I went, you know, it's in the way, you know, my little guy got in my bed yesterday, and he did this snuggle thing in the middle of this while he was sleeping, and I looked over and I went, because his dad did that. He doesn't know that, you know? So in some ways, he's still with me in ways that I could have never imagined, and it's comforting. But in other ways, it's tough.
He would have been so proud of everything you've accomplished in these past few months, moving forward with this book, returning to work, Sheinelle, which is such an act of strength in and of itself, and then to be anchoring with Jenna. What has it been like for you to transition back into the all-star that you are on the Today
That's
Show?
a really good question.
As you say, people see you dancing.
I know. I really
up on stage
I
in
know.
the plaza.
It's so interesting because I really worried about it. Of all the things I worried about coming back to work after Uche passed away, I was so worried that I wouldn't be able to laugh again.
But you do laugh.
Right.
How do you balance the grief that you feel with the joy that you still encompass
that I still
for
have?
viewers?
And it's so genuine. When I read comments and people say, oh my gosh, her joy it gives me joy, they have no idea that that was the one thing I was so worried about. It's bigger than me.
If Uche were here, what would he say about all you've accomplished in these just past few months, Sheinelle?
I just feel like he is here. It's like everything short of just letting me hear your voice and saying you're right. But the way in which it's happened and the timing and my prayer that I could model strength and resilience for my kids. And I know they're watching me. We may not talk about it all of the time, but I see them and I know that they're watching. And people who are dealing with grief who are watching right now, you know, people who are in hospital rooms right now. I just want them to know that I see them and we're going to be okay. If I can be okay, you can be okay.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.